Hello, everybody. Welcome to Top FC TV. We are live here with another Football Tonight show. Real football tonight, not the American crap that we got going on. But we got an American panel, of course. We got Kevin. You know him. He's a United fan. Then I got a Chelsea fan as well. Joseph making his debut here on the channel. I think Laurent is going to come on. You know him, a City fan. But we're gonna talk about everything that's happened in what is that? I'm getting an echo. Okay, there we go. We're going to talk about Premier League, of course. Garnacho, Havertz, Newcastle, Chelsea, the City, Liverpool clash. It was supposed to be the match of the year, but it turned out to be a really weak game. I think that Chelsea City was really on point. You know, I think that could have been called the match of the year. I got Laurent back over here, and so yeah,
I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Uh-oh.
You gotta reboot,
I can't
bro.
hear you guys.
You gotta reboot.
Leave and come back.
Yeah, he's gonna have to reboot. Anyways, let's get started. Let's talk about what's happening, man. How are you guys? Kevin, Joe, what's happening, man? What's going on in your neck of the woods?
It's good. Happy Monday. My team got the 3 points. It's good.
Finally.
There's been some dodgy calls.
Yeah.
Dude, we're the best. We're the top of the league on form table, but let's not talk about that.
Oh
If
my
you guys don't want
God.
to talk track. If you guys don't want to talk facts, let's not do those.
All right. But yeah, man. Okay, I guess we can start with the City Liverpool match. I mean, that was a really, you know, a lot of people expected more of that match, to be honest with you, and it turned out to be sort of kind of boring at times. Just 1-1. Of course, I felt like Manchester City probably deserved more in the first half, but at the end of the day, I mean, you could say Liverpool got a point at the end, you know, that maybe they didn't deserve, or maybe they did. I don't know. Doku was phenomenal as well. I think he's the best signing of the season. But what are your thoughts, Kevin, on the City Liverpool match?
All right. So just to kind of just the last few words you said, Doku and Szoboszlai, I thought were fantastic in that match. But a lot of fans on social media, and everyone can see him, is everyone thought Doku just wasn't it because he was making half chances and running down the wing, but it wasn't creating to anything. But in my opinion, if it's a scare, if you're going to go down there every drive, and you're going to come down, you're going to not drive, sorry, every wing, you're going to come down there and just kind of show off and make sure no one, the double team or triple team. It was Trent, Salah, and Matip trying to do it all.
Hello, friends.
It was going to be crazy.
Yeah. I guess we can go with the City fan that showed up late.
Hello, friends.
What's happening, Laurent? And what are your thoughts on the City Liverpool match, man? How do you think it went? Are you satisfied with that point? What's happening?
I think it's a bigger deal for Liverpool to go to the Etihad, get a point, especially as they hadn't won there for a few years since 2018. It feels for City fans like they beat us all the time, but that's not really accurate. In that 2018-19, that 17 season, City would always lose to Liverpool and lose badly. But hasn't been that way since. I think for City fans, we had opportunities, and I think had they gotten 2 goals early, they probably could have put that game away. It's kind of a frustrating performance, but not one that hurts too bad because this game wasn't chippy. It didn't have fight. It didn't have a lot of crazy moments. So it was just like, oh, Liverpool got a draw at the Etihad when they're playing well and we're missing De Bruyne. Okay. It didn't ache me.
As not a fan of either team and as a United supporter, nice to meet you. But did you think that both teams kind of in the second half realized in like the 50th, 60th minute when they came out and they both were just tactically the first half was very open and both teams were going at it. And if I told all the Liverpool supporters I know, Darwin Nunez was a first touch striker and not needing like 1 or 3 touches to actually get the ball in the right position. The game
he's a 5-shot to 1 goal striker, which is pretty bad.
Yeah, it's not good, but I'm just saying there was multiple chances. Szoboszlai was running down the left side of the mid, bringing the ball, carrying it fantastically like it's what he does, and then released both of them. He released Jota, he released Nunez, and both of them just didn't get that shot off. If they got those off, the type of game that Ederson and Alisson had that day, they could have easily went in. They just didn't shoot.
Sure. And but you could play the counterfactuals with Foden's couple shots.
No,
you could play the counterfactuals.
Yeah,
with,
I don't think you can go either. It's kind of goes either way with that. Like
Yeah.
with me, I think it's just kind of a shame that they made that the early kickoff. Like right after international break, it kind of felt like that game deserved to be, Sunday, last game of the weekend, kind of an idea.
Like a Super Sunday.
It kind of ruined the momentum of it.
Yeah.
Because it was so early. Not for us, not just because of us Americans having to wake up early in the morning.
I'm on the West Coast, so it was 4:30.
Me too, brother. Me too.
But that's crazy though, man. Don't you think that it would just make common sense to not have it in America, where the biggest, the biggest, I guess, league that we follow is the Premier League.
Well, like it's the second market that supports it, right? Like we are the second market that supports the English Premier League so much with our viewership, and I feel they really and honestly, it doesn't do the supporters, the match going supporters any justice either.
If it was up to the English, it would be on at 3 p.m. and it would be on at 3 p.m. in perpetuity, all the games at the same time, like it was in 1890. They would never change. Ever.
Yeah, and it's a damn shame for the lack of. It's just a shame,
And it just doesn't make sense that Fulham and whatever it's called, they played today in televised
Wolves?
game.
My boy
Even
Gary
O'Neill
getting
exactly like
again.
but like think about it though. Think about it. Like if we go back to like just a couple weeks ago before the international break, we had City versus Chelsea on a Monday, and everyone got to watch it.
Yeah,
everyone. You know what I'm saying? So it was just it felt like not only
I actually have some insight into this. So a friend of mine is a television programmer at a major network. I'm not going to blow up his spot, but a lot of this is how you deal with the leagues. And I actually worked at Tops and actually dealt with the Premier League. So one of the things that happens is the Premier League has to play the game of everyone being equal. So it's not like U.S. sports where, you can have the Lakers are on every night. They literally have to put every team on. Every team has to have a slot that's the national game. So this might have been the time that they were like, you know what? We'll do Fulham and Wolves this Monday. So they do have an egalitarian thing where they have to have certain things and they can't go to them all the time.
To have like a primetime game.
Yes. Otherwise, they would just do Liverpool City, Manchester, Arsenal over and over and over again. So there is a balance there.
But the potential best match of the year. You're going to do that too.
All I'm saying is they should have the ability to be able to flex these games like an NFL.
Oh,
situation.
if they flexed it, the English would go batshit, right?
Yeah, but
I bought my train tickets. Go ahead.
But everyone understand.
Oh, we lost him.
Oh, we lost my guy. Okay, go. He'll probably be back soon. There he is. What's up, Kevin?
Well,
we're all having amazing technical difficulties.
You got to pay the Wi-Fi, bro.
Difficulties.
What? Did it just stop working? I don't see
it.
Sorry, but no. All right. So, what I was just trying to say is the issue that what you guys were all just saying is in England, the 3 p.m. kickoffs there aren't shown, so they have to understand that there's televised games. Yes, like we were saying, the 12:30 kickoff for this game there, but if they put that at the 3 p.m. kickoff, it wouldn't be on TV.
No one watches it,
and like you can't watch it, and you have to legally stream. So it was a 12:30 or 8 p.m. and exactly what sorry, what's your name again?
Laurent.
Yeah. So what he's saying is you have to realize it's 12:30 or 8 p.m. and not every single team every week. Exactly what you're saying. NFL, NBA, NHL, these types of sports is the big dogs get the 8 p.m. kickoffs or tip-offs or puck drops.
Yeah.
But over there,
it's
required to make sure that all 20 teams from the Premier League and then all 32 teams in the Championship perform and are on live TV on Sky at one point or the other. And I get it, but yes, they could have easily done better. But they're not going to target.
I just think it took the fire out of the game. Not only it not being bit on TV and that, with early kickoff after an international break isn't for like nobody wants that slot.
Well, I mean, if you look at Bayern, Bayern had a Friday game after an international break.
Yeah, I mean, like we're not going to even talk about other leagues because it just gets a lot more crazier.
Yeah.
But let's just before we I have one more thought. About that. When you look at the Premier League trying to kind of take over the American market, when they bring the fan fests, the only thing that Americans can actually do, they see the turnout, and that's what they think is the live television turnout. So they don't care what time, because on the East Coast here, when I was in Philadelphia, I was up at City Hall at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., trying to get in there to be able to see and be in the crowd and be in the atmosphere. Because guess what? This has been my sport for my entire life. I've played my entire life. This is what I basically live and breathe it. So, yes, we can all complain, but guess what?
I was at United's really greatest moment. I was at
there. It's more the fact that like if you actually put it into perspectives, like in general, like most early kickoffs have some type of always have some type of controversial situations happening in them most of the time, just because of the way it's just the early kickoff. It's the earliest game.
I don't even remember any of the
weekend.
Like what early?
And like normally you get some just things happening in those games, and it's always like here's my point. Like I've heard managers complain about this early kickoff plenty of times in my time watching football at this point, where like if someone's coming off of if it's coming off an early kickoff and it's a big game at an early kickoff, like the energy levels aren't going to be the same as if it was on like a Sunday night. Like that's just
I think the night games have more juice because the English are drunk before they get into the stadium.
Yep.
They're not drinking on a Saturday morning.
So let's get back to the game and talk about some of these players that had good performances. I mean, you could talk about Alexander. I don't understand why Alexander Arnold is the man of the match. I understand the equalizer, but I think that it just don't like again with the schedule and all that stuff. It just doesn't make sense. How can I get the equalizer is important? All that is cute. You know what I mean? It's all that you shush the crowd. But why the man of the match when he was getting cooked by Doku all game?
Well, I wouldn't agree with that, because if he was getting cooked by Doku all game, Doku would have scored a goal.
Well, ultimately he's a winger. He's supposed to create plays.
Yeah, I thought Doku frankly had a bad game, honestly.
No.
Sorry. In terms of, he took too many touches. His cutbacks weren't to anyone. Yes, he was cooking Trent Alexander-Arnold, but Willian can cook Trent Alexander-Arnold, and he's 35. Like, that's not an event. Like, anyone can do that. That's just normal. That's just Trent. He giveth and taketh away. So I know Liverpool fans know that. You guys defend him to the end. That's fine. I get it. When he's in that 3/4 half space in the attack and he's on the ball, it's the scariest thing in English football, maybe even world football, because he can put that ball anywhere he wants to. In defense, I'm happy to see his really vertical, bow-legged attempts at defending. I love it. I'm good. Please do that. But I thought Doku tried to. I could tell, because one of the things with City is playing Foden and Doku together means they're going up and down, because they both want to attack. And the thing that City want to do is slow things down. And the reason why they haven't really been clicking and Bernardo has to do everything is they don't have those players. Like Gundogan is incredible. He could control pace. He could slow the game down, or he could take it, turn, and pass it into Haaland. It all depended on where they were in the moment. So their rhythm is a little bit off, and I felt like Doku was trying to slow it down the way that Grealish is so perfect at. That one-footed slow down when he gets to the edge of the box and he keeps dribbling with 1 foot. That's all purposeful so that City can get tight. And I was listening to all the pundits in this thing. Liverpool, like that City didn't crunch Liverpool the way they do, where they keep them penned in and you're like, we can't breathe. That's what was missing from the game that we're all talking about and can't put our finger on, is that breathlessness, that feeling that the attacks are crunching. Everyone, there was kind of space.
There
and guys
feels
could get
like
where they wanted to go.
there feels something missing in that midfield, for sure. There just feels like there's something missing. It feels like that top, like it's either like you're just not playing Bernardo Silva in a place that's conducive for him to be more controlling of onto the pitch, and it with Alvarez next to Haaland, it's like you're trying to play him more in like a 10-ish area where like De Bruyne would kind of be, but like he doesn't create the same type of pressures that De Bruyne does, because he wants to carry the ball and he wants to score, where De Bruyne is opening up spaces for everybody.
And Bernardo's a carrier, right? He wants to carry. He wants to take the ball,
and he likes to
go.
keep the ball ticking too, where it doesn't seem like he has the options to do that as much as he would if,
because he's the option. When he's on the ball, he's not around to get the ball.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one thing I've noticed big time with City is like it feels like that Paqueta signing would have been like is exactly what they actually needed, right? It wasn't like an 8 that like the Matthias Nunes style.
Although we haven't seen enough, we don't know, right? There's a lot of carriers. They have a lot of ball carriers and less passers.
You have 3-4 ball carriers that kind of all play the same position,
but nobody with no passer.
But so this is the only thing that I see when you look at the City team and how they lined up on Saturday against Liverpool. When you have Doku and Foden on the wings, like exactly what you're saying, and you have Haaland in the midfield and in the center, like people don't get when you look at any team in the world when chances aren't created for their main strikers. When you have wingers like that, you're not going to have many chances because those are attacking, driven-minded wingers. They're going to take the ball down the wing, get to the 18, and try and cut in, and not go down to the touchline and try and get that little tricky 1-2 pass with their right back.
I disagree with Doku, but continue.
But like, so what I'm saying, right? But how many times did he cook Trent and then try and pass the ball, but then no one was there to help him? So that's what I'm saying. His creative mindset, but he was driving to then attack, but then no one was overlapping. So there's these like back and forth that you have to realize.
They don't have people to overlap. That's
not on that side.
Another problem. But both sides, they don't have people overlapping. Like Vardiol doesn't overlap as much. He kind of like sits in the middle, kind of center line.
Yeah, but the wingers get the width and the fullbacks go inside.
Go
ahead. Finish, Kevin.
So why I'm saying that is when you have Doku and Foden running down the wings, and then you don't have an overlap coming to make sure that when you're going to get double teamed or then get pressed outside and push them to the wings, you're going to then have issues. You're going to have a congested corner of the top of the 18, and that's what happens when John Stone pushes up and they open the midfields. And they have this. They didn't have that, and you can easily see like as soon as Laurent came in, I said the 50th, 60th minute, they both realized that the tacticians of Klopp and Pep, they said, look, give them the space that they want and get to the 18, top of the 18, and they're just going to compress them. They will compress them into the space where they know, where they're John Stones, they're Rodri. They're not going to give them that space because they know Mo Salah, they know Darwin Nunez, they know Luis Diaz is going to just be able to, if they have that space, they're going to counter it. And guess what they did? And the one thing I have to end on is if that ball got to Salah, that's a big if, but if that goal didn't go in by Haaland, that was a huge, huge chance because Salah was gone. So, again, they got the goal, but if that ball got there, if City got the Haaland, basically, you just can't give him that space. You can't give him that space.
He used to be a liability, but now Ake as a left back is.
Did you guys think that was it a foul on the goalkeeper for a second goal for City? Was that? What do you guys think on that?
They never call that.
Kevin,
he's always going to give that
aside. Put your feelings aside, Kevin.
That there's just so many, and I don't want to, like, we all know this, but there's so many calls that you can look back on and why they don't use this information of, say, and I'm going to do it, Arsenal, Newcastle. Why you're able to do this with Gabriel
to an outfield player, but not a goalkeeper.
But not a goalkeeper. And it just doesn't
bizarre.
Yeah.
It just why don't VAR use previous they just So, and then another thing, if you guys know Mike Doss, great Liverpool supporter, usually on a lot of channels. But what he said is VAR that needs to change their rules or change their name. It's not clear and obvious. It's second referee. Second referee. Because if they're going to do all this, clear and obvious doesn't take 5 minutes to make an offside decision. There's tons of technology right now that will make an offside decision in 30 seconds. So what I'm saying right now is if you're going to use VAR to make this money grab and to do all this stuff and make all the fans celebrate a fake goal and then get sad, look, then just claim clear and obvious is gone and just call it VAR second referee. And then
how about we just put a second referee on the field and don't have VAR at all? Let's start there.
But Laurent, that's not money. That's not enough money for them.
I hate
is that what it's about?
You're asking logic from the FA, and there is no logic from the FA.
No, it's FIFA.
The FA doesn't think in logic. They think in their own pockets and what they want.
I see. You give them too much credit. They're morons. It's not even like they know how to make money. There's ways to make money in football, like, and they're not even doing that well. They're just dumb. Anyway, it's English bureaucaucracy of a failed state that who cares? Anyway, I hate VAR. I can't even go into it because you guys have heard. You guys maybe have listened to the show before.
What are your final thoughts on what does this match mean for City and mean for Liverpool? What are your final thoughts for all of you guys quickly before we move on to the Chelsea Newcastle debacle? So
for Liverpool, it means that they can at least tussle with City and probably maybe get them at home. For City, it means absolutely nothing. They don't. The City doesn't mean the season doesn't mean anything until
March.
Yeah, we all know when December fixtures come in is when we really see. And if Liverpool don't get a 6 in January, and you'll see the squad start getting thinner. And the legs will start going in every single team.
But Endo's good. He's not even playing him.
But what I'm like, Laurent, you can't. How Klopp wants to play?
He's not good.
He's good enough for.
He's good enough.
He's good enough for the 75th minute to hold the game out if they're winning 2-0.
Yeah, sure.
But the issue is the way that you can see that. Like, and I don't want to go too much anymore on this game.
They played Henderson for 5 years.
You can see how Klopp.
Good point.
Put McAllister as a 6, and it's not working. Working. So if they get a 6 and do exactly if a 6 plays McAllister's role, Liverpool are a different team because McAllister in an 8 is a beast.
Agreed.
And we can all know that. So if it's Szoboszlai,
McAllister, and then a center,
and then a double pivot with those two, and a 6 that can hold it down in between Van Dijk and Matip, they're a different team.
The thing is, there's not a lot of them. There's like 5 of them. And they're all on the good teams.
Pretty good at that, but I'm waiting.
What's that?
Yeah,
I'm waiting.
Like City have 1, and when he's out, we lose.
Go ahead, Joe. What are you already said? You already said what your final thoughts on this one, right? Yeah, go ahead, Laurent.
Oh, I'm good. I think. Like,
what does it mean for City?
Like we all said, I'm like.
City's
really hard for me.
City hasn't beaten any top team this season other than just a
United.
Few. Well, no, they're not top. I'm sorry, Kevin. I'm sorry. Not even Kevin. Not even.
I'm catching straws over here, boys.
Come on, man. Not even Kevin's family members thought that Manchester United was gonna beat City. Come on, let's stop playing. But well, I guess we can just move on to the Chelsea thing, or maybe wait until Joe, because he's a Chelsea fan, of course, and he probably has a lot of feelings about this. There's Joe. So go ahead, Joe. Let us know what your thoughts are on this bad performance by Chelsea against Newcastle at St. James's Park. What are your thoughts about this one? I'll be right back. I have to fix something real quick, but go ahead, Joe.
So, where I start with this is going to be with Poch. Okay, Poch, first and foremost, we have seen. I think we're at game week 12 now, and 13.
We're moving on to 13. Yeah.
And there hasn't been one game this entire season where Poch has played the same lineup back to back. Now, we have a team of youngsters. Bully bought a bunch of teenagers, for lack of a better term, okay? And to be honest, that to me right now, like, that isn't my issue, okay? My issue is that you do not play with any consistency. Every single week we are playing a different style of play, and there are teams that have had the same amount of time as Poch, and he consistently changes the style of play, and these teams that actually have a style of play. I'm just going to name a few. We have Tottenham. Even though they have lost the last few weeks, they have a style of play, and they want to play a certain way, okay? To me, my only question with Poch specifically is, why did you switch it from the City game? Why did you switch it? Why did you go from Conor Gallagher from the 10 to Conor Gallagher to right wing? Why did you play 19-year-old Leslie Ugochukwu when you had Caicedo, who's 110 million pounds, Great British pounds, on the bench? And to me, I don't want to hear about your complaints about travel. Joelinton and Bruno came from the same continent and traveled the same distance to come to play. Travels
Almiron,
further.
the legend of Almiron.
Newcastle is further north than London is. So there is no reason for these things. He can in every game. We cannot just have a style of play.
Are we ready for the hot take? Are we to quote the great and powerful Bill Simmons, my idol? Are we sure that Pochettino's good?
Oh,
he had
goodness.
3 seasons where he put Spurs move on the way up. We didn't know at the time, but he had an all-time great striker. The season that they made the Champions League final,
Harry Kane, sorry.
Harry Kane. The season that they made the Champions League final, they fell apart. He ran that team into the ground. He nearly killed Christian Eriksen. He never recognized which were the right players. Something happened to Dele Alli. He was the manager of Dele Alli. Maybe that's on him. He went to PSG, did nothing really. To be fair, that's an unmanageable team. But it was even better then, right? It had the 3. It had Cavani and Neymar and Mbappe.
To me, maybe though, he does have a track record, though, of working with young players. Okay, he does have
Spurs, and one of those young players was Harry Kane.
Joe,
no. You got to go back before that. You have to go back before that. He coached Sadio Mane when he was and Virgil van Dijk when they were at Southampton.
Okay, wait. Can we just, before we get into too much thing now, when does it come to a point when your resume is a resume and your experience and talent has passed you? Like, say if you're a CEO of a company that goes bankrupt and then you go to be a bank teller for 5 years after that, are you still a CEO level quality CEO? No, like your experience is no longer there. It's not like Sunderland and Tottenham were 7 years ago almost now. Like this is a point that where I get it. Like Todd Bowley came in and everyone could see kind of what he was trying to do and become almost like an American ownership of a team and kind of say, break up all the roots. I'm going to try and bring my own people in, Graham Potter, and say, look, I'm going to bring the recruitment team. I'm going to bring the youth in and we're going to try and build something here. What this squad is doing right now is not trusting each other. I can just see on that field, look, I know it's Thiago Silva is one of the best center backs to ever touch the pitch.
You didn't even let me get to that, brother. Didn't even let me get to that point.
All right, go for it.
Okay. This guy's a legend. Okay, we're gonna go to some of these players because I'm gonna go on my little rant on some of the players. I went on Pochettino, now I'm gonna go on some of these players. This guy's a legend. Okay, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But he's also 39 years old. He's also 39 years old. The fact of the matter is why in God's name is he playing weekly?
There's nobody else.
Bro, I'm asking questions facetiously because there's no answer to these. There's no answer to these. Only Pod can answer these questions, and no one else can.
Who would you put it instead of Silva?
Well, we have Disasi, who has played the last 2 games, and he played really, really well against City. You have Levi Colwell, who you just put a contract. You just put a giant contract, gave him a giant contract, and he's making 100,000 a week, and he's sitting on the bench. And then you have Badia Shield that you played today, who has played with Disasi at Monaco for 3 years together. So there's no reason to say there is no connection there. To me, like I don't mind if he plays. Don't get me wrong. Like there's games where like sure he should play, but every week at 39.
Yeah.
Let me tell you one player who can do it every week. This guy right here.
Yeah,
he was able to do it.
Tear his hamstring after 60 minutes.
Yeah, but guess what? He still did it.
He only played
40 years old and finally retired.
The thing is, Joe, we all have to be fair. As much as I blast Pochettino for the hot take ness of things, it's a young team. This is just what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah, but so is it a young team and it's going to happen, or do we need to rant about the coach and the players? So it can't be both.
Well, he has to have some consistency. There has to be some type of consistency. Chris, like you can't go out there and play a different system every week.
Yeah, that's 100%. Yeah, I agree with that.
That's what's happening. You can't go out there with these young kids and play a different system every week. It's not going to work.
Here's another.
Not. You got to drill these kids and let them play the system every single week and if they screw up, they screw up. That's what happens.
Doesn't Chelsea just have a cut rate Bielsa? Why don't they just get Bielsa?
Well, he's happy at Uruguay. He's happy. Nobody's moving him from Uruguay.
Ass as usual.
Yeah. But I mean, I think I have to rep a little bit. I have to bend a little bit. I mean, because Newcastle made Chelsea, in my opinion, exploited their weaknesses. And I said
Gordon cooked.
Anthony Gordon was unbelievable. He needs to be mentioned as one of the best wingers in the league right now. He's really in those 2 wings for Newcastle are. Go ahead, man.
I'm sorry, bro. But there's no way you're gonna tell me Anthony Gordon did anything in that game until Reece James got sent off. He did nothing in that game until Reece James got sent off. Nothing.
Nah, man.
Okay, why did Reece James get sent off?
Because he kicked the ball out. And then he kicked the ball on the first one, then he got held on the second one.
Is that because of the pressure of Anthony Gordon driving him, making him nuts, making him have to run after him over and over again, keep on challenging him, taking him on?
He didn't do anything to like make it sweat. To me, you want to know why we lost this game is because Eddie Howe stuck to his guns no matter who was on the pitch.
That is 100%.
On the pitch, he didn't care. He's gonna play the way he plays.
I will.
Jermaine Lascelles on the pitch. He's gonna play the way he plays. That's what I rate. I rate somebody who doesn't give a crap and is gonna stick to his guns. Unless you're 9-man down and you're still playing a high line, like that's different.
Right.
Other than that,
I was gonna ask you that.
Other than that, stick to your guns. You know what I'm saying? Stick to what you coach on a weekly basis, right?
Yeah.
But
Don't
also
just create something out of the blue and try to hope it works. I don't know. That's just me.
Go ahead, Kevin.
No, Chris, I want to hear your.
Well, I mean, look, I think that Newcastle does get underrated a lot, and that's okay. But one of the things that I'm proud of is what Joe said about the resilience from Eddie Howe to still do what he needs to do and follow the same recipe every time because it works every time. I don't know that if Almiron gets hurt or Gordon gets hurt, then it would be the same. But at the end of the day, even with a lot of players out, close to 10 players out, really. But I mean, you got to take in consideration. To me, nobody talks about how Isak is probably the second best striker in the league, and how
Ollie Watkins would like a word,
and how I know Joe, you probably don't like it, but. We got the best right back in the league. I just need a
little bit more time for me to say that. That's all. I just need a little bit more time.
Who's the second best?
Right now, Ollie Watkins.
It's Ollie Watkins for sure.
Right now,
he's a murderer. In fact,
Yeah,
I'll turn it around.
Isak hadn't played.
Best strikers in the league
form,
because
I'm not
Alvarez
talking about
is better
the
than
player.
Watkins.
I'm just talking about in form right now. Probably Ali Watkins is second.
But Isak hadn't played in weeks, months. He comes on. He
What
gets
did I
one
say?
to
What
the
did I
corner.
say? I said I love Isak.
Okay.
I just need a little bit more time with him on the pitch for me to be able to say he's second best.
Yeah,
That's
But
it.
I mean, and you gotta give Trippier his props. You know what I mean? He's a terrific. And actually, what is crazy is that Newcastle's offense runs off Trippier more than anybody else, which is crazy.
You want to know what else is crazy about Trippier? He's a City Academy graduate.
Okay, whatever.
There's
Nobody.
A lot of those that I didn't know about actually.
Nobody remembers that.
You know what I did like about Newcastle is they actually specifically on set pieces, they knew who to target on our team. And like they knew exactly who to target on our team and how to pull him out of positions and get and make sure that he had a bad game. And to be honest with you, I am not the biggest supporter of this person. And Conor Gallagher shouldn't be on my
Oh my goodness!
Stop! I love him. Please, I love him so much.
Everyone in the world can love this kid. I don't care.
I love him so. He's a Crystal Palace player.
Hard he works.
No,
he's a Crystal Palace player.
Every single game I've watched of him this year, he sleeps on set pieces.
Yeah, he does.
Every single game. Joelinton had a free header in the box because Conor Gallagher decided I'm going to decide to not defend him this time around.
I know. You know what it is? He's so I have a thing that I'm going back a few years that there's a thing in English football that you need, that you can't win without it. And I think actually Chelsea are lacking this, even though I talk about Gallagher. It's this Englishness, the kind of fight and spirit. And it doesn't have to be from English players, but you can't win unless you've got that special dust, and you can have too much of it or too little or the wrong Englishness, but Conor Gallagher's got it. And that's the thing. He's so charismatic. You want him to be good. You want him to get stuck in.
Joe wants to pass out
now,
right now.
He's not great, but he's
all yours.
Another player, right? Like Scott McTominay has the thing. He's got the thing, though.
Yeah, but now you get to deal with it.
He's not even English. All right, wait.
He is English. He plays for Scotland, but Englishness doesn't mean you're English. It's that thing.
We can
stuck in.
Now that we set our piece on this Chelsea Newcastle, we can transition into Manchester United Everton.
No, wait.
Go ahead.
We didn't even talk about where the game was. I said before the game last week, like no one realized that St. James's Park, like, is
one of the hardest
very hard place to go.
It is.
Anfield East.
There we go. I said Chelsea City was a 4-4 battle. Like, it was, for some reason, that was an open game. I said Chelsea have no right to rock up to St. James's Park and try and play that football.
No, they get the shit kicked out of them.
How Poch kind of went into this game, I saw the lineup and I was like, all right, he's going to play a little bit defensive-minded, but probably try and play with Reece James just creating, like, their fullbacks are going to come up. Guess what they did? They did exactly that. My issue with this Chelsea team is no one gets that you just don't have someone that's confident on the ball in the midfield other than Enzo. And Enzo is just not a deep playmaker. He controls the ball and moves the ball up and then gives it to someone that's a playmaker. Enzo is not a playmaker. Like, when have we ever at Benfica? He was never a playmaker.
Hey, I watched him at River Plate weekly because I'm a River Plate fan, South American football.
There's a lot of issues with this team that is not being addressed.
He's not the main problem.
No, Enzo's not the problem.
I'm just saying that's the main thing with Poch, though. So before, Joe, I get it. I can talk days on what Poch is doing, but if you're trying to rock up with that type of lineup and think, oh, I'm going to try and control the wings, when you have Livramento, Trippier, Brennan or Schär, and who's your center back?
Lascelles.
Lascelles.
Yeah, Lascelles. If you think you're going to try and rock the wings against those four, you're fool. Like, go back home. Get back on the M1 and just go back home. You're like.
Can we
you're
also
dead.
talk about how bad Sanchez is? He's terrible. Oh my God.
I mean, he has
Oh,
good
Roberto
moments,
Sanchez.
he has bad moments, but that's once again not our biggest problem. Like, it's still
Yeah.
not our biggest problem. You
But yeah,
consistently, but Kevin, what you said is exactly right. It's like you looked at the lineup and you were like, what are you doing?
Like you can try, but Reece James is
but
not
if you're
gonna
looking at
produce-
the lineup and I'm looking at the lineup every week and we're asking, what are you doing other than when we play City or Tottenham or, you know what I'm saying? Unless they're one of the big names, right? Unless they're one of the big names, because we should have rocked up to Newcastle with our best team, but we didn't. And
yeah, so it's
you know what I'm saying? Like not for nothing. Like, all right. That's why I was praying to God that Christopher Nkunku was ready to play. I was praying.
Give the guy time. So,
No
like,
player,
I know,
no
but
club
that's
is
the type
more
of
reliant
player
on one player who hasn't
we
played
need,
yet than Christopher Nkunku.
That's
Yeah,
who we
like,
need.
that
That's the type
was
of
my main
player
Right,
thing.
we
the
need.
amount of pressure they put on him every week. Well, we don't have
He hasn't
Nkunku
even
yet.
played yet. Like, what are we doing?
I'm not putting no
So,
pressure on him, bro.
that
I
was-
just want him to get out there. That's my thing.
Yeah.
I just need him to be out there, because if he's out there, that means Conor Gallagher's not on the pitch. Like, that's that's my thing, bro. Like, we cannot create with this dude on the pitch. He does not create nothing.
No, he's a Crystal
All
Palace
he
player. He's my favorite Crystal Palace player. I love him so much. I can't take it.
Yes, PMP.
By the way, I
Yes,
have to say, I really like bad, shitty English football players. They're literally my favorite. Like, I love Jared Bowen more than anyone should love Jared Bowen. I think
He's
that
not bad though.
No, I know, but he's so English and like direct and get stuck in. Like, I love Trippier. I love Conor Gallagher. I like the really bad, crappy teams. Like, I go purposefully look at Luton and I'm like, man, give me some Lockyer any day of the week, man. I love that dude.
All right, so let's talk about. We got to talk about Arsenal later, just shortly, because I mean they just.
Can I give one little thing
to
juxtapose the Spurs thing?
What?
The lineup that Spurs put out is the most incredible thing we have seen in the
We're going to talk about it
in history.
We're going to talk about it at the end, but let's transition into United Everton. We got to talk about the smacker, boy, the Garnacho at the beginning of the game. It was shut a lot of mouths closed. Maybe not, because a lot of United fans don't rate Garnacho, and it's kind of surprising because he's still a young cat. And Arturo Vidal came out today. I tweeted about it. He said, "Why is he celebrating like Cristiano? I mean, you're not young anymore. You got to do this." He's still young, and he's very much a fan of Cristiano. So at the end of the day, I think some people just need to lay off this kid.
You got to believe it before you can do it. If no one's going to believe in you, so let him believe it.
Yeah, but man, that was one hell.
Cristiano was like that. No one remembers though.
Yeah,
he didn't have a good performance after that, but he was one hell of a shot. Like, Rooney would have been proud. Like, he would have been proud of that. He was clapping, watching his TV, just clapping. Like, Rooney would have been proud of that moment.
Look,
so United, would we say, Kevin, that they had their best performance of the season, even though they gave up more XG than they scored?
Yeah, look,
they're bad.
XG.
I don't care what you say.
It's look, before we even go on performance, what Chris said before he had to run is every single person of any on that team. It could be Scott McTominay, it could be Hannibal Mabry. If they're in the parking lot and their shoes untied, a news article will be written about them. So him scoring like Ronaldo is perfectly fine. Whatever. He wants to celebrate like Ronaldo. That's his idol. He wears the same Nike Mercurials, has the same deal as Ronaldo now, like when he was this age. It's fine. Cool. Be it. The only thing you have to do though is the same thing like I've talked about with the youth academy recently, is control these players. We cannot have another player come out of the youth academy and think he's the next big shot when he doesn't keep consistency. And my biggest thing is that this club has been my life for way too long. And to be in the dumps this bad for the last 10 years is hard. But here I am every day.
You know, I listen to a lot of Gary Neville, and I think it was an article, must be 2-3 years ago now. Somebody went to Old Trafford and they did the whole story of the lineage from the Munich air disaster through the club into Nobby Stiles, into the academy, that lineage of having a young player from Old Trafford, the neighborhood, and that connectivity. I talk about this all the time, that English football has, and I think it's why we love it. The sinews and connectivity of institutions going through a club. And I think what they've lost somewhere, and I don't know where that lineage broke. Maybe it was De Gea, maybe he never had it.
I'll tell you.
But that
exactly.
passing down of what it was to be a United player, somewhere in there it got broken. I think they thought Ole was going to bring it on, but something broke there where young players don't carry it.
After
look, I'm not going to go I'm not going to go too much into what my thoughts is because that's not what the show is about. But what I'm going to say right there is Garnacho didn't deserve man of the match. Our other youth academy prospect did.
Yep, Mino, he was awesome.
Because Kobe Mino,
Kobe Mino was
criminally underrated and overhated player. That
overhated.
Who
hates him?
I think he's very liked by most Manchester United.
I never even heard of him. How is he hated?
No, look at that. Look, no, because look, it's my type of media. Then if my side of media is probably targeted at me.
You gotta clear the cache, man. You gotta delete the browse history. Come on, man.
What the game was is we scored a great goal in the 3rd minute, and bam,
killed the crowd. Thank God.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Thank you for taking the words out of my mouth. That crowd was a hostile environment. It was 40,000 people with fans screaming the Premier League is corrupt after a 10-point deduction of points for them. So going into their away match, starting your first game at 18 years old is no joke. And what he did, he ran the midfield. And what I saw there is someone that can understand that you can control the ball, you can hold the ball, and you can turn with the ball. Why I said that is because guess what? In the 23rd minute, Scott McTominay played 3 touch and pass goes with Onana, and guess what? Didn't turn. He held it on the top of the 18 and went back and forth for 3 times, and Onana kicked out of bounds near the halfway line. When you compare midfielders from a 25 or 26-year-old, Scott McTominay to Kobe Mino, there's levels of this sport. So,
McTominay should be your striker, bro.
Stop talking.
Striker.
Going back to then the actual performance is we're finally seeing something that we've all been hoping for.
Well,
is just creativeness of like actually seeing the midfield with the 6 to then actually let Bruno play his best role off the striker 10. Yeah. Look, and I'm going to compare this to Laurent because he's not the level, but KDB is a low playing 10. He does not want to be touching Haaland's leg every time he wants to go on a run.
He wants to be where Trent Alexander makes those crosses from.
So Bruno is a very high playing 10. When he does it, when he played at Copenhagen that second half, when we went and we got that performance, one of his best performances of the year. Yes, we lost because of a wrong mistake. Whatever. There's levels to this game that people don't get. People are Bruno haters. I'm not a Bruno hater. I actually enjoy watching him play when he's played in the right position. So, going small recap of the game. Great goal for the first 3 minutes. Second goal, all right.
Ashley Young wanted to give you guys a nice.
He should have get something.
I'm still United, guys. Here's a penalty. That was what Ashley Young was doing.
And then also, let's just. I don't want to bring it up. VAR. How is that not another yellow though? How is that purposely, blatantly putting a foot out, making the ball was way past him already. Throw the leg out. You got your penalty, my guy. You don't need double jeopardy. But then where's the consistency again? So
don't ruin games. Just keep playing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Let me.
And then the third goal, Martial.
Finish your point. Go ahead.
No, it's just
But I want to ask you this though. I want to ask you this.
The Martial goal was good, by the way. I must say that whole build up play.
Do I have to speak on behalf of Everton? They were good.
Well,
They had 2 chances at 30. McNeil and Calvert-Lewin. Onana actually had a good game where he didn't hurt you, thank God.
Yeah.
And then I do have one Manu
Corey
comment.
had a nice opportunity too.
Yeah, there was a late chance by Harrison as well. So I thought that considering the goal, considering the circumstance, yes, they lost 3-0, I understand, but I think Everton ultimately will take this and Dyche will be able to go, we're getting out of this. They're too good to be down there, even with a 10-point penalty.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're not gonna stay down. They'll be fine.
But so,
points.
Laurent, I just want to go off that point though.
I actually don't think that they're gonna end up being one of those teams that stay.
Go ahead, Kevin. Finish what you were trying to say.
Just because, look, Onana, people don't understand the weight on your shoulders to be in the goal. So look, Onana came in his first 4 games and made mistakes. Every keeper in the Prem, if we're going to compare it to other teams we're going to talk about, Raya and Ramsdale, I don't want to go too much in detail because you can just say the names and understand. But
I have one name.
6.96
Vicario, legend.
Go ahead.
He's good.
But look, Onana has been one of the best keepers in the league after the penalty save at Galatasaray. People get, as soon as you get confidence, and I've said this on this channel, said it on every channel I've been on recently. As soon as this team gets confidence and we get Martinez back, he's training individually now. He'll be back soon come, maybe 2-3 games from now. He'll be back. If we have Luke Shaw back now, our best left back of the club, but we do need better. And we get another center back in January because I can't trust any of these people that are on that squad name. But
yeah, I hear you.
If we get confidence in the back line, it's a different team because I've told this to every single person I know. You cannot play from the back or from the wings without confidence with your center backs because your fullbacks should be on the halfway line. And if you don't trust your center backs to run back and get that ball, you are going to concede because your keeper is not confident that you're going to go in for a tackle. And
I have murdered United more than any team that I have murdered. I've called them the worst run big club in the league. I have buried them and put them on the ground and enjoyed every schadenfreudic moment of their losing, of their ineptitude, and everything about them. But I will give them credit. They have somehow, through hook or by crook, played awful and somehow won 5 in a row, beating the likes of Fulham, Luton, Sheffield United, Everton, big powerhouse teams that could never have stood a chance, and they hunkered in there, and now they're 6th in the league,
and they're still
with a 0 goal difference.
They're still 6th.
Now, to be fair, they've got the points on the board, so they can build from something. But they still have played terribly. Oh my God!
Look, we can play terribly, but the same thing like in the beginning of the season, we can only beat and play who's against us. So yes, we're
completely understand.
So, but just before we turn off United, the news recently of Jan Blanc and Paul Mitchell coming in, I have high hopes because those 2 players, if they're getting rid of Woodward and Richard Arnold, to understand running a club, we can all agree, whatever company or organization you work for right now, that you don't know who's signing your check at the end of the week, and you can get someone you can trust. This isn't just about mental game, and this isn't just about skill set. This is about making sure you know who your boss is, making sure the recruitment team is run correctly, making sure the youth teams run correctly, making sure that the U8 team is playing the same way as the starting 11. If that runs that way, United will be scary. And guess what? Everyone, as United fans, we all know Qatari is no longer here. But guess what? If Sir Jim comes in, we don't need Qatari money because we are the 2nd biggest club in the world.
Yep.
So if money
it was never about the money for you guys, right? Like it was never about with Sir Jim.
Confidence. They're incompetent.
It was never about the money. It was who you can run the club better, right? It was because we have now we have evidence of Arabic money running clubs a lot better than English money or really any other money. So
this isn't money. This isn't money. This is about.
I know. I'm just talking about
football.
I'm just using the word money as like where the money's coming from. not necessarily like it's just necessarily like. But if Sir Jim is gonna make these moves, right? Like Paul Mitchell specifically, the biggest one that, in my opinion, if you get
Young
Paul,
Blanc, in my opinion, is better.
I just know Paul Mitchell's resume. I don't know Paul Blanc's resume like that. So, but like if you get a DOF or someone who's running the club and not actually giving these people who you're signing unbelievable wages, unrealistic wages, so you can't sell them in the future, and making the correct decision. So in the future, that if you do make a mistake, it's not a mistake that happens for 6 years, like a Maguire, right? Like you got to find this next group of individuals who are going to be running Manchester United have to restructure the wage bill to a totally different extent to allow yourself to still be able to sell. Because the way that you guys are right now, you guys aren't selling.
We can't sell players. We can't sell players. It's not about the money of the players of the cost. It's who's going to agree.
It's just not
to then
well run,
cap that
right?
wage.
It's the whole thing.
Yeah.
So what I've said before is, like, if any of you guys have ever worked anywhere, well, I'll quickly go, Chris. When you work at a place where the structure is bad, everyone just works on their resume and wants to leave, and rumors fly. It's awful. It must be terrible to go to work at United, like just from like the non-player
admin level
everything,
to non-player.
everything, like selling tickets, everything. It must suck.
I mean, geez, like you guys have so much you guys have to do with that club. I mean, not us too. Like we have to build like a whole new stadium, rebuild.
I'll be happy to chat.
You guys got to rebuild the stadium. You got to rebuild Carrington.
Can I talk about the winners of the weekend, the beloved
Spurs?
Spurs?
I got to, that's why I want to transition into Arsenal, and at the end, just to finish off Spurs. Let's talk about Arsenal, man. Arsenal, I mean, right now leading the league 30 points, not by much, of course. It's never going to be by much, but at the end of the day, this was a match that they had to win. I watched the whole thing, and up until when they scored, which was like what, the 70th, 80th minute,
89th minute.
I mean, I was like, come on, man, you got to. It's Liverpool, City. They tied the match. You wanted that. You have to win to be able to be leaders. Again, this is just more, just to prove a point than anything else. You know, that you have the character. And so, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? And let's just start with Joseph. I know Arsenal's your rivals, but I want an objective opinion on, if you can, on what are your thoughts on Arsenal? I mean, do you think that this means something? At the end of the day, they had to prove.
No, it doesn't mean anything because they got those guys up the top. Don't mess around in March. Like that's what it comes down to. It don't mean anything. They They had the league for 90+% of the last year. 90+% they were up at the top. My thing here is they're not creating as many chances as they were in the past. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing from them. They're better. They're more solid defensively. They are more solid defensively. I will give them that. But they're just not creating chances.
Well, and I think it's a continuity thing, honestly, right? The Xhaka thing really it's kind of broken the team down.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get into the midfield. I like Declan Rice, okay, but he's a different type of midfielder to Partey. Like, agreed. As much as they're both sixes, like the deep line playmaking that Partey would that provided to that team and to allow them to create chances isn't there anymore. Rice is more of like a ball carrier, and I do like Rice. Like, don't get me wrong, and I like a lot of their team, to be honest, other than Kai Havertz, who can kick rocks for all I care. But they're just not creating the type of chances that they could be creating, I think. And I think they just still have questions at striker. Like, they have real questions to answer. Like, personally, like, it looked best when Trossard was in there. Like, recently when they had Trossard in there. And then they kind of went away from it because Trossard's really like their third choice. Just because they have other options and these other options have came back. If this team gets Ivan Toney, I would be very scared of them.
Agreed. Yeah, but I think they're gonna. Well, some Arsenal fans have called that off because they're going to renew his contract, meaning they're probably going to want more money. That then,
are you talking about Brentford?
Right, yeah.
So Brentford, what the deal with Brentford is they're going to renew Ivan Toney's contract because he has a year left on the contract to hold the value. But with that contract, is going to have a release clause in it that will allow a team to be able to just go pick them up for the price that they want to pick them up for.
The rumor right now is the rumor right now is an 8-month contract to then hold them until August of next year. But why they're doing that is to make sure if he wants to stay and he doesn't get the offer, then he has until the end of the transfer window of come summertime. Yeah, but they're going to put that release clause around the 85 mil ballpark, and a club is going to come in. My thing with Arsenal is, look, every team knows this. When you have a player that shines for a season, like Odegaard's last season,
awesome.
There is scouts. There is tacticians, there is people in clubs' job to figure out why he's able to do that. Teams against Arsenal figured out, and I'm not saying Ghostagard, I'm not doing all that hate. Odegaard's a talented player. People have figured out how he's able to drift into places and get the ball and transition it and move it into the wingers and the Nketiahs, the Jesus, the Trossards. The issue with they're having right now is Kai Havertz is not the talent that when they had Partey, Xhaka, and Odegaard midfield last year. Rice is talented. He's a very talented ball carrier. He can play the Partey.
He's not a great passer.
No. He's a great ball carrier. But able to someone needs, like, everyone knows if you're a ball carrier, you lack that ability to like lift your head. You're a powerful player that can run with the ball and not get bullied off. Then you need people to come to you to then help you get the ball. Kai Havertz isn't showing. Odegaard is getting man-marked and is doing it. If they get an 8, this team is different. It's not a striker. And yes, Jesus isn't a clinical striker. But guess what? They have Saka, Martinelli, Trossard. Emile Smith-Rowe is very talented. Don't know why he's not playing. There's players like this that people don't, in my eyes, if they get an 8 in January, it's scarier than Ivan Toney. Like an 8 with this team, with Odegaard, Rice, and like
you can still man-mark Odegaard out the game. That's the other problem. That's been the problem. You literally, in every game that Arsenal has struggled, it's just been man-mark Odegaard, and they haven't been able to create.
But what I'm saying is, usually you man-mark, when it gets dangerous, then there's a fullback, there's a center back coming to help him. Then that 8 is then free. A talented 8 is then free to able to like create play for them.
You guys are more probably better players and understanding. It seems like of the game with me. I'm just kind of like a nerd who reads all the books and watches shows and gets nerdy about England. Why can't Trossard be that 8 on the other side?
Because he doesn't have the awareness to pick up the ball from deep. He likes to pick up the ball in wide areas or in between the lines.
Because that's
what he wants to do. He wants to pick up the ball in between.
Yeah, but if they're going to convert Havertz into that position and he never played it, why couldn't it be Trossard?
Laurent, like this, the one player that I can kind of I know it's a far stretch. Imagine Riyad Mahrez in a midfield role. He's so like not willing to understand where the ball is not coming from. He just knows the ball is going to get up there. And Trossard is a very
he's a good finisher.
He's a very talented finisher. But I just see that, again, just to wrap my point up, is if they get an 8 that can really understand to bring them to show face to Rice, to then able to bring one of Martinelli's or Saka, like they just cut in a tiny bit, play a little bit narrower. The team is different. But
I think it's going to end up being a deep line playmaker of some sort. I think it's going to end up being Douglas Luiz, if you want my honest opinion of who they.
But he's a 6. He's not an 8.
Can I give some shout out to the great Thomas Frank and the amazing Brentford Bees, who consistently, whenever they play a team at the G-Tech at night, rough them up, punch them in the face, make their lives miserable. And that is a team that I love deep inside. I'm a City fan, but I love crappy, disgusting.
That didn't sound right. That are awful to play.
And I love I just love how they play. Norgard.
Yeah, if we're
Now
on
there's a
Snappy TV
player.
right
Give
now.
me Norgard every day of the week.
Let's spend our last 5 minutes, if we will, on Spurs. Have they fallen off? What is going on with Ange Postecoglou?
No, they're fantastic. Give me more.
I know.
Spurs.
Give me a second. Give me a second. I want to say this because I'm in the middle. I don't think they're falling off. I don't think that they were the best team in the league, but I feel like when it comes to us talking, not us in particular, but people that do stuff like us, they just want to do banter and he sucks and talk about him on the manager of the month, which is, to be honest, I don't think he's deserved every freaking month like they've given him.
They were undefeated in 2 months.
yeah, but I mean, what? Just to finish off these next few minutes, what are your thoughts, Kevin? What are you thinking on Spurs? Have they fallen off? What's happening?
No, they're fantastic.
Look, rival fans all saw it, undefeated, cool. They play who's in front of them. They win. They play very fluid football. They get the goals. The team was on fire. To think that their squad depth was good enough after injury to play the same style, to understand the positions, to make sure their wingers are in the right place, to make sure Son is able to get the ball off Madison and make those runs. Like, I heard a fan on Twitter, or X, sorry, say Lo Celso can do James Madison's role. Are we talking the same player? Lo Celso couldn't even get into Argentina in the World Cup when he was supposed to be there. McAllister took his role after game 1. Like, look, Tottenham is a very good team. I'm not gonna hate on them. The way they're playing football is very talented. Like, let's just go through it. Everyone: Vicario, talented; Udogie, good; Mickey Van de Ven, good; Romero's a bozo.
I love him.
And then
what a goon!
I forget who's there.
Oh, Porro, also a lunatic.
Pedro Porro, goes in 2 foot or puts a wonderful cross in. James Madison, talented. Betancourt, talented. And then who's the last guy?
My guy, Basuma. What are you talking about? The legend.
Basuma, yeah. That core right there is very, very good. That can do something. But the issue is, one of them or two of them go out, the team falls apart. No one has the confidence to then carry the ball. So what I'm saying, I just rambled for. You just can't trust the other players. You can't trust Eric Dyer. You can't trust Ashley Phillips. So what these people are doing is they're thinking their injuries aren't going to affect them. And guess what? If you don't have the squad depth, you can't trust them. And then bam, they do this. But then also everyone can say, Postecoglou or whatever it is.
This game specifically, though, when you look at the
high line for every
the specific lineup of this game, they played 4 center backs because they had no one else. Fullbacks. Excuse me.
None of them were center backs.
They played Royale. They played Davies, Udogie, and Porro. That's insane. And then Lo Celso and Betancourt, they basically said, "We cannot defend. We will not defend. We're just going to go hell for leather."
So what is
so enjoyable in the first half? Okay. They could have won and had no right to be in this game.
So what is going to be the ceiling for Spurs this season, Joe? Where are they going to? What is? Because they're not best, they're not the worst.
They're going to keep falling until January. It's just what. And here's my thing about this though, these poor Spurs
City next,
bro. I don't understand how they think, my guy. I just don't understand how they think. When has James Madison finished the season?
Never. He always gets hurt.
He's average. He averages.
Mickey Van de Ven, by the way, Mickey Van de Ven got injured last year too.
God, he's good.
He's good though.
Basuma, where was he last year?
He was in the Conte doghouse. The Conte doghouse.
He was also injured though.
Yeah. Well, that's true. That's true.
To me, this was always going to happen.
Look,
this was always going to happen to them.
Yeah.
God,
Madison was always their main creator. Yeah, they didn't have anybody else.
They weren't going to finish first. That's a.
No.
I love it. I was so happy watching that game.
Everybody knew that. But I'm talking about the realistic expectations of a squad. Okay? Because you look at us, you don't when you look at before the beginning of the season, You look at everything, right? You're not just looking at your 11. You look at everything that you got, right? But when you look at the back end of what they got, you are asking a lot more questions than there are answers.
Joe, their best center back, other than Romero and Mickey Van de Veen, is a 19-year-old called Ashley Phillips. Like, sorry, excuse me, anyone heard of that guy's name? Like, no.
Yeah.
Like,
I think no. The beauty. Let's go with the narrative though. The beauty of this.
To put Eric Dyer in. We're still trying to play Eric Dyer in 2023.
The beauty of this
done.
team is that in March, Conte blasted this team as players you could never win with, and that they were losers, and that the coaches can keep changing, but it's the players.
Yeah.
And Postecoglou came in and said, "Not so fast, my friend," and he transformed this team.
He's doing something. He's definitely doing. He's
right?
doing
and
working.
This team was transformed, and I think
been
that
a better season.
From a Spurs perspective, I think every game, even if they lose, they will feel proud to say they had a go because this team was dead.
That's what like I think Chris was trying to nail on that we haven't talked about yet. When does it come to a point that, all right, like I'm just
you have to win.
First off you have to win, but everyone talks about a style of football. Like Chris, Eddie Howe does it, Joe Potts doesn't, Pep does it, Ten Hag is trying, it's not working. Like you can see what Ten Hag is trying to do, sort of with the back line, but it's not working. Postecoglou is doing this high line, fast, one-touch, two-touch passing, and then making it a basketball match of the amount of chances. Yep. Like, it's exciting football, but guess what? If you don't win, it's a result-based business. The game of, like, the point of this sport is to win matches, collect 3 points, and fight for trophies on the other side.
You're going to start chanting, "Are you Bielsa in disguise?"
Nope. Go ahead, finish your point, Kevin. So we can go.
It's just like we just can't. Like, yes, it's his first season, but De Zerbi in his second year was getting hate for it. So come May, if he still does this, he has to start getting hate. He can't be like they're playing good football, but they still lose. Guess what?
No, it's going to be awesome.
You don't win.
Wait till they play the bad teams. They're going to light those teams up. It's going to be great.
All right, we'll see. We'll see about that one. We got a close shop, ladies and gentlemen. If you are watching right now, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. I'm going to redirect you to Staffy TV. He is live right now. So if you
Aston Villa, respect to Emery.
Yeah, he's doing. Yeah, that is true. That is true. We ran out of time, man. But anyways, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. I appreciate everybody coming on. You can follow. None of these guys have YouTube channels, but you can follow them on their Twitter. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. You're
time,
right,
baby. Right. Done. It's a replay of the same show that's on this channel.
Have fun over there at Staffy TV, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.